welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, and I tell you what, my heart is already overflowing with you guys. The names, the thoughts I'm having in that opening. For those who caught the opening, catch the opening. I'm looking at that guy. He's like younger there, and he just seems so happy, that Jack Talcott guy in the beginning. So here's the newer, more recent updated version. Holy cows, I can't believe I'm doing this again today, but yet here I am. Despite the odds and wishes, there's people out there like me can't believe Jack's doing this again today. What's he doing? What's he thinking? Praise God, man. Praise God. Here today, once again, I do actually, before that's what I wanted to say. I want to say thank you to everyone who tunes in to join. I truly do. My heart's desire is for you to find some fun, encouragement, and inspirations, for you to carry on with you, share around in the world that you're living. Because, man, this life, what a blessing this life is. It's no joke, man. It's no joke. Today, I'm inspired with ideas. In the background of me is the love, and my hope is the love comes through clearly. In the background of the message here, what I've learned from experience, it's so obvious and true. Together, when mankind unites, people as a community, together we learn the most. And I'm all about learning these days, brothers and sisters. That's really what I'm all about. Face Your Fears Friday. Here I am, the man with the message, live without fear, something I know. And this word from Emerson, one of the authors I truly did enjoy, and I hope to return to more of his work. But he who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. Because that's the secret of life, guys. The secret of life is that your fears, your individual fears, are likely different than mine. We may have similar fears, right? The more obvious ones. None of us wants to be physically injured. None of us wants to lose contact or whatever. We've got some similar fears, but every one of us has some individual fears as well. And the fears, I think the fears are the wrapping paper that hide the gifts of your untapped talents. And regardless of that, fears will often prevent us from realizing success and achievement. You know, the fear can, facing your fears with courage and honesty. Courage and honesty, those two go together. When you're more honest, you're more confident. More confidence brings more courage in the face of fear, so that you can face your fears with courage. And when you get honest about many of your fears, they might be illogical. See, this is how the mind works. We are so perfectly designed, brothers and sisters. Sincerely, the design of us, the mechanics, the technology, the biology, the way nature works, it's just a perfect order that appears chaotic to those who are afraid and insecure. Those who are afraid and insecure are likely dealing with an image of false pride. It's these things I experienced, and it's been confirmed through other studies, other explanations. But what I've learned for myself, by whatever path, by whatever life path and education you've received, I encourage you to surrender. Surrender to the Holy Spirit, the divine Spirit, the true loving awareness, the true consciousness. Surrender you, your small you, your insecure you, the one that's always fighting for power. Surrender that so that the love can lead you. And the only way love can lead you, the only way love could lead me, is when I was willing to open my mind, to actually follow the advice that's, laid out in the Bible about forgiveness and repentance. And then what I found too is in the Bible, it's true about a kingdom of heaven being within me, being within you, being everywhere that we are or everywhere that we go. It's true. I was considering these thoughts earlier today, and the topic, redefining values and variables. What I want to get into is kind of some intellectual, whatever you want to, I don't want to label it. I want to get into some conversations about how to and why to redefine values and change how you consider things. As I'm saying that, I'm remembering I saw Zach here in the channel, in the chat, regarding gematria. It's another perspective in which to see all the variables, right? There's so many ways that each of us can look at this world and look at this life we've been given. But the filters we develop in our lives, unhealed trauma, bad habits, all of these unhealthy patterns that are conditioned from the media, from the entertainment. Brothers and sisters, we don't have to live in this world of nonsense where everyone's fighting each other, pretending to be friends just because they enable each other's problems. I used to live that way, but this is the American life. I see many people online and from an outside view, admittedly, in many religions. I see many good men and women trauma bonding because the world has lost sight of what is truly important in life. Money only matters if you think it matters. Authority only matters if you think it matters. Now, there's consequences for every choice and every belief that we find in life, because the beliefs and the choices we find and we create, those beliefs and those choices become who we are. Brothers and sisters, if you want to keep yourself small and, defined with some small label, I'm an American, I'm a Christian, I'm a whatever. It's such a silly game that people pretend. And I used to play that game. Brothers and sisters, redefining values is so important. In the description of each of my live streams is links to various organizations working for peace on earth. Okay. I'm bringing up today each Friday, the Schiller Institute hosts discussions and conversations from the International Peace Coalition. And so I'm listening to what's going on in the world today. And thank God there are a lot of good men and women who are trying to do something, right? Raising awareness. And that's actually, there's a lot of characters here. They're trying to raise awareness. Characters. I mean, no disrespect. Thank you, Hank. My molecules obey force, even if my brain doesn't. Force is an interesting concept, along with power. The world of today, redefining values, force, right? This is what we're facing. In the material perspective, where everyone's focusing on the property and the material and the resources, and this focus on the material that the governments, the corporations, and the people are doing, the material keeps us confused because mankind is convinced that it can control. People can control other people, and you got to control other people because they're out of control. And it's all true. But we're not going to control anything. And it's time where people are trying to control, they're fighting for control. What's being overlooked is cooperation. Cooperation is the key, right? Because when we can cooperate rather than force, we don't have to deal with this obey and order. I realize I'm bouncing off topics here a little bit here, but you know what? I'm feeling good. I really am. I'm feeling blessed, and I hope not to entertain a circus show today. But at the same time, it's Friday. Redefining values and variables, that really is the point. It's the topic. As I'm watching the discussions, and the news is real, we've got to accept that there are wars going on. There's men and women fighting for their lives right now, begging, praying, wondering where is the solution? Where is the support? Where is the help? Where's the sanity? Where's the humanity? That was one of my notes today. Dehumanizing thoughts. Dehumanizing thoughts, patterns, and ideas has everyone fighting each other for control. Hey, let me welcome him. How
Hey,
are you,
Jack.
brother?
Pretty good. So I want to put things way off course from the usual Friday with your trolls. I'm gonna go attack. I'm going to present an argument made by someone else that I'm friends with, but I think they're making I guess their criticisms are out of line because they're criticizing you for stuff you can't change about yourself. And you know you're working on the stuff you can change about yourself.
Thank you
So
for seeing that, Hank. Is that what
yes.
is that?
So let me blow
Uh,
this up. This is Demon Slayer's it makes good videos, but they're attacking Jack Talcott for being a grifter, which he's really not doing. A clown, a phony, which I disagree. Uh,
thank you.
would it be Guru? Actually, I'm not sure. That's debatable. Um, Narcissist, yes, but so what? The shrink. What's wrong with being a narcissist? The shrinks say they can't even fix it, and it's just a label anyways. So I just really need an argument about why being a narcissist is bad. and just the worst thing that pops out, that means it brings back the silence, which is just prisons. It prisons shrinks can put you in. So I'm strongly against that. I don't think psychology is a science. So why give shrinks the power to put people in prison? It's ridiculous.
Agree, Hank. Hey, thank you for addressing that. I saw that comment first thing this morning and I was like, are you serious? Jack Talcott, allegedly a low IQ grifter, a clown, a phony. You gotta be friggin' kidding me, Demon Slayer. See, maybe this is an experience for him, her to realize that we become that which we hate. We'll pick up patterns. And so look how quickly that individual just turns their opinion.
Yeah, but I'm ready to go. If you want to defend your defense of the psychology academy, I'm ready to debate whoever. In fact, this is what I'm here to destroy, anyways. I don't like the psychology academy. I don't like its defenders, and I like God's number. So let's go, Demon Slayer.
Well, Hank, this is where you and we are similar perspective. I think the what has here, it ties into the topic, redefining our values. What are we willing to accept? I think what has happened with the mental health cooperative and the entire health profession, it doesn't focus on health. It doesn't focus on healing. It focuses on
billing.
Customers, right?
It's focused on billing, not healing.
Thank you. That's right. That's what I saw in some of those therapists, man. Because I went to therapy and I went to professionals, and for those who have no others, do it, right? We all need someone who's willing to listen to us and to give us a caring perspective. It's too bad we live in a world where you got to pay someone to actually get that. Because honestly, Hank, I think that's what. Oh, what about this theory? The mental health profession arose as the families were being destroyed.
Yes, absolutely. The extended family, because the nuclear family was radioactive from the start. Nuclear families can't survive. Extended families are stable enough to actually last through thick and thin. But yeah, it's pretty ironic that as nuclear families became prominent, psychology also became prominent. So
how interesting. See, there are a lot of fascinating patterns you can find from history. You actually kind of reminded me of one I'd heard that right at the time of the nuclear bombs, where the U.S. dropped those new weapons on the Japanese, in a different place in the world, I understand that's around the same time the Dead Sea Scrolls were found and the Hammadi Library. So historical record of the spiritual and the wisdom of the past arises at the same time as mankind is becoming more destructive and truly beastly. But the signs are clear. Thank you. I mispronounce things. Sometimes my tongue doesn't work like my mind intends. That's all of us. Well, I don't know about always. I know in America, many of the insane asylums were places for the poor. Poor people were identified as insane. They were locked up if they weren't enslaved in someone's work mule. The poor have been freaking Dude, people are sick. Mankind is a beast. Oh, these ideas, though, the signs of war, what's happening in this age right now where we do have the technology. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time looking at them, but as I understand, there's these Israeli soldiers and settlers, posting on social media how absolute disgusting they are, mocking and ridiculing people that are being literally hunted. It's it's sick. And as this thing is getting shown to people of varying ages, what is the youth really thinking? This world is confused and diseased because of misinformation. My thoughts this morning while watching the wonderful men and women on the International Peace Coalition, how do I get their attention? Because they've got connections to people who are still employed in government. They've got connections to people who are active and connected.
Bet they're so ready for help, you could just email them. Have you tried?
I've tried, Hank. This is the peculiar path I'm on. I think I'm offering the right words to the right people, but I get I've been kind of ignored. But this is what I've learned to accept. This is my life path. My testimony is honest. For those who want to call me a liar, wow. Wow. Um, but the thought I had earlier, I invite all of you to consider this train of thought for yourself. God is all I have. That's all I have in this world. I mean, in my true experience, that's who I can turn to, right? So, God is all I have. I have nothing. But if God is all I have, well, what does that mean? It means I have everything. So I encourage you to consider that if God is all you have, that gives you a connection to everything that is beyond what you have. That's the mindset I'm walking with these days. And one of the ways, here's a lesson I wanted to share regarding redefining the values, redefining definitions, particularly of who you are as an individual. The the path of self-examination, the purpose of self-examination, self-realization, self-actualization, all these terms that psychology has been describing and philosophy, they are important. So the idea is to go within our memory banks, go within our habits, go within our bodies, and find out where the unrest is. Where is the darkness? Where is the part I'm limiting myself with? What is the part I'm denying about myself or what I can give? Because that's another part of this. We are here to give. In the likeness of God, we would be givers, not just takers, but giving intentionally, giving goodness, giving Well, the way of Christ. We would be giving leadership. We would be giving instruction and correction and blessings and health and life. To do the inner work, it's as simple as reconciling the opposites, okay, both within and outside. So we have good and bad. When we're honest, we've been good and bad. And what we think maybe was good and bad, but if we can accept the good and bad, we can realize the wholeness. And as we realize that we are whole with the good, with the bad of the past, well, then we can intentionally choose, what do I want to bring forward in the future? I want to bring forward that stuff. Love, man, love is where it's at. Because in the bigger picture, if we don't care, if we don't love, we're devaluing our capacities. And the capacity of a man or woman to love, empowered with love, the capacity of a man or woman with love far exceeds the capacity of an individual who's filled with hate or excuses or blame. Hey, yeah, Jack, why can't you just stuff your head in the sand like the rest of the stupid ass Americans? I think this is my destiny. I did. I shoved my head in the sand. I shoved my head up my ass. How stupid I used to believe with my fears and my anxiousness and my hate. I can't forgive that. I can't ever forget that. Holy cows, man. Brothers and sisters, if we redefine our values and place love high in the values, because then you'll start to think about what love means. And this is where the power of our mind, the power of our experience. Change the vocabulary in your mind, and your life transforms. The power of words, brothers and sisters, the power of words. It is critically important. I don't know. Hey, got another wonderful guest here. Welcome, Daisy. How are you today?
Hello, Jack. How are you today?
I am truly feeling whole and filled with love.
Well, that's good.
How are you?
That's a good place to be. I'm doing well. I just got finished with taking a walk in the sunshine today. It's a pretty day today. Got my walk in, and I came here to tell you something, Jack, if
Please?
you'll allow me to.
Of
I
course.
think that it's very kind of you that you allow people in your chat to use your chat as though they were probably, let's say they're 7, 8, 9 years old, and they behave like they're on a playground at an elementary school. And they just love to come over here and bully people and bully you, but they won't get on your panel, but they'll clickety clack and type. They won't have an honest interchange with you. At least you and I, when I have joined your panels, we've had honest discussions on areas that we do disagree on, but that will never make me disrespect you or want to mistreat you on purpose. And any time that I have done that to you, I've tried to apologize to you before about it. And I apologize again today because I know I've done it too, but I have backed off. And I just think it's amazing all the things that people love to type in your chat, but they can't do their own broadcasts. They can't create their own channel and live stream and have anything else worth saying. That's all I wanted to say. And I appreciate you letting me on.
Hey, Daisy, thank you for joining. I've noticed that myself. I mean, I've witnessed some of the conversations in the chat and the names having those conversations, and I'm like, wow, if they just listened, they'd have totally different perspectives. But we don't control who listens. Hey, welcome, Paul. Are you there? Okay. Well, when you're ready. So here, I don't want to dismiss or ignore what you shared, Daisy. What I do realize, though, there's a divine force that is with us. Someone in the chat brought up something about force. I think it was Hank earlier. There is a divine power and a force that emanates all life and experience for us to discover. Each day we call it a new day, right? It's just the continuation of life that's being expressed through us, with us, for us. This life we've been given is truly a gift. It can disappear at any time. So why not use our life in service of others? That's what I've truly found. It just, everything supports this suggestion that we are here to serve forth life, to serve forth wisdom, to serve forth love. It's the way we're designed. But the world we were born into, because trauma profits, people are carrying around a lot of darkness and emotional wounds and scars, physical scars, man. Life's no joke for some people. I thought I had it bad until I heard the stories of some others, man. We live in a world where men and women have been dehumanized, treated as work animals and as objects to be obtained and owned and controlled. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to discover. That's what I've learned, truly. The path to wisdom, it's for us all to know. And it's so perfect. I'm telling you guys, truth matters. Every word we think and share truly matters because it represents. We represent life of today in the form that we are, as man, as woman, old or young. We represent the life we are. But the life we are today, the current situation, circumstances, the life we are today is just the manifestation from the past. And so if we start our life today, redefining what is important, paying attention moment to moment, what is important in this moment, what might be important in the next moment that I can prepare or consider. Life happens in moments, and all of us have experienced things in the past, moments in the past that have transformed us in good ways and bad ways. I know from my own experience. But right now, this world, the whole world, is waiting for higher values, higher standards. This nonsense of the corrupt pageantry, the marketing and advertising for the celebrity of the position of President of the United States, Harris, Trump. Fuck over here. Brothers and sisters, until people raise the standards of what they're willing to accept, we're going to keep living the same tragedies over and over and over. But I don't think that's happening, because I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people are waking up in this world. And all it's going to take is for the bold to stand forward and say, no more, not anymore. I was considering my options. You know, a vote is really just data. It's data, and the data is going to be manipulated, exposed, or hidden. It'll be shown. Whatever happens to the data happens. I actually considered which is a better way for me to live, because I don't see. I found the value in the past of voting. When used correctly, the systems, you know what, these damn systems, the systems have corrupted everybody because the systems are corrupted. And if people want to believe in corrupted systems, they become corrupted people. Let's not play along anymore. Jill Stein is the one I've heard talking about peace. It used to be Marianne Williamson, but, you know, the DNC didn't like what she said, apparently, so she's not. Well, you know what? It's signs of the times. Immoral people, God allows evil rulers to rise to punish immoral people. And the land of America, I didn't see what was wrong, right, with the life I was living, going to the bars and porn and gambling, and I didn't see anything wrong with that. It was entertainment. I worked hard, I could play hard. I was just thinking that attitude of work hard and play hard really showed how retarded I was. God. I've been envisioning, and here's, I'm honest where I'm at. My results are what they are, but the more I've been considering it, why not? Why not, especially at this time, if God was going to call some of us, Paul, I think you're included, we have been called. We've been called to step out and to grow in our reach and our influence. And the purpose is true. It's to help wake people up to what is right and moral. But if God was going to call us, and, you know, we faced challenges and learned a lot of lessons from the past, why wouldn't it get easier? It makes sense that it would get more simple. And that's what I think is happening. I don't know what the future is going to bring for me. I know that I'm going to continue offering and trying to share some of the things I've been learning about the importance of spiritual practices. the importance of feeling love in your life and the accessibility. That's what I really want to try and share. It's my theory, unproven so far, but I think when we get a chance to try it out, we can show that it is very simple. It's very simple to transform like that. But until people see it, they don't believe it. And that's kind of how I was for a long time. But what I've been learning, brothers and sisters, life is to be lived right now. Every moment is now. So remind yourself to live now. And how we live each moment, if we don't master our minds and our emotions, if we don't figure ourselves out, our minds and our emotions will be our downfall. This is from my experience because of my lack of self-control and my own admitted my confusion. Because there was times I was yelling at people and I thought for sure this is what God wants me to do. God wants me to yell at these fucking clowns. But that was used against me. So I don't know if I was right or wrong for yelling the way I did, but I did. And I realized that my yelling caused people I care about to feel bad. And I didn't want people to feel bad about what was going on, but brothers and sisters, we can feel good or we can feel bad. But if we're not paying attention to how we're feeling, we'll let whatever comes into the day take over. And that's okay when you're feeling a lot of goodness, but when we become dependent on the outside world for good feelings, it's a sign that our mind has been disconnected from our hearts. And I lived that way for a long time. So if the world was waiting for higher values, higher standards, those values and those standards would have to come from the people, from the masses, not just one or two. And I think that's what's been happening with people in America is they think that when someone's elected, they're somehow of a higher value than them. It's this nonsense. Egoic foolishness has real life people are suffering because other people are playing pretending that they have authority. I mean, this whole nonsense of the charade of the judges and the court systems. There's some true corrupt plans that have been widely shared. If Trump gets elected, influenced heavily, guided by the Heritage Foundation and all these other greedy places. And then you got Harris, who's just this war mongering, the idea that war is normal. It's got to get out of our belief systems. War is a sign of abnormality. It's a sign of a diseased society. And brothers and sisters, I'm speaking as an American. Let's not be like the fake healthcare system and just pretend we can't do anything, continue numbing it. I actually see ways. Well, I think it's happening. I got distracted there. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello. How are you today, Jack?
I am. That is how I am. I am. Praise God that I am.
I am. Oh. Well, that's the name of God, actually, isn't it? I am. In all caps, I am.
It is only God that is.
I got
That's what
stuck when you said that you work hard. You worked hard and played hard. I'm in that still. I'm still in that phase. Work hard, play hard, have fun hard, fuck hard, drink hard, cocaine hard, all that stuff. I'm still trying to get free from the party days, I guess, of my youth. I haven't really. Is there a secret for that? Getting beyond uh, that mindset.
absolutely. It's the topic. Redefining your values. Because here's my own thought process. If you can kind of follow this, then maybe you'll see what I'm saying. In the path for myself, I wanted to become more loving, more kind, more Christ like. Along the path, while I resisted it, it did lead me to devoting my time, energy, and attention to studying, meditating, praying for realizations on what God may be, because it's a fascinating topic, life and consciousness, and then how, and the source of creation. It really is, it's fascinating. But in my path, I had to define for myself what is holy, what is divine, what was it that Jesus embodied as he walked. I mean, I don't, my view is God is everything, but if you take the idea that Jesus was the incarnation, the embodiment of the Holy Spirit, and that's what the story was Jesus as a man was filled with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit led him through his journeys of teaching and healing and the end. So what is holy is true. What Jesus was the divine physical form for us to recognize the similarities between us, right? And him. He embodied wisdom and love without conditions. He loved even those who despised him. And I was considering his words in my own experience. I do hope that my life glorifies his. As he lived to glorify the Father, I hope to live as a more holy man in honor of his leadership, his example. So the path is simple and direct. It comes through the mind and the heart, but I truly believe, well, if you accept the concept that there is truth in this, it is by the grace of God, by the grace and goodness of God, that all things may be. If we seek within us to know, there's a Holy Spirit within us that's available every moment of the now. Christ and the Spirit, the connection for us all to the divine wisdom, the giver of answers. It's found through the heart. And within us, we have a true conscience that will tell us when we're right, when we're wrong. But in this world of confusion, people listen to excuses and find blame about why they're right and why they're not wrong. But in the moments of each of us, when we're not filled with negativity and unrest, we are our true self. And the true self is divine. The true embodiment of a real man, a real woman, balanced and needing nothing, right? That embodiment of a man or a woman, it's divine. We can change the world when we redefine what is and is not important to us. And if you can consider, everything has an importance, and yet nothing has importance. And just give, sincerely give yourself permission. The rewards make sense. Give yourself permission to become a vessel for God, a vessel for goodness, not punishment, not curses. Being willing to give yourself, give everything away when the opportunity is there. I'm at this point mentally, emotionally. I mean, I'm not dumb and I'm not foolish, but I'm willing to walk away from everything and everyone for a better life. Wouldn't you be? If better meant freedom, if better meant prosperity, abundance, well, the ways of the world, the old ways, the tradition of banking and governance and regulation, those ways are preventing us from thriving sincerely. It's
Yes. Yeah, that's true. They are preventing us.
so this is what I think is happening. I trust that God's plan is salvation. Salvation means overcoming the problems. Now, each of us, we're all carrying karma and we're all carrying our purpose beyond what we may know. I do believe there are people here on earth that are going through some horrible suffering as the purpose to be an example for others to realize that, hey, shit's got to end. So there's an awakening and a realization, realizing that's happening all around the world. There's, from what I've seen, I don't think it's just my feed. It might just be my path, but you guys are a part of my path. There's more people having conversations on spirituality, on consciousness, on health, on overcoming. And if you think about the world as like we're just one big system of individual lives being played out, each of us are ideas within the mind of God. We've been given the idea that we can control our lives. But the reality is, at this time of awakening and realization, there's many people who are waking up to the fact their light is shining bright. I feel like this is me and many others. We're the new ideas. We're the new ideas here to break the patterns of the past because we've learned from the past. We know that the past has brought us to corruption and oppression and censorship and exploitation. So we're the new ideas that are coming forth at this time on earth. And as the new ideas start uniting, coming together, cooperating, these new ideas of freedom, wholeness, love, cooperation, abundance, prosperity, these new ideas will take over. And the
You think?
future that
Sorry.
No,
Do you think these new ideas will take over the minds of the masses, even if they're a bunch of hateful, low IQ, idiot clowns? Like, will it still penetrate their minds and take over somehow? Do you believe in a mass awakening coming?
I do. It's undeniable. It's happening. And there's so many things that are happening, and there's so much evidence of the corruption and evil of the past. It's only a matter of time now. I believe the day of judgment, right? The day of the Lord. We've already got all the signs that were, and here the words from the Bible, I honor them. I am a believer in the wisdom and the what I found in there, but I don't live by scripture. I live by Holy Spirit. And so we're at a point where the evil and the corrupted are getting more and more emboldened. But at the same time, they're turning on each other, right? That's why Diddy's in the news and all this distraction. It is distraction, but at the same time, it's evidence of the manipulation and the exploitation that's been hidden behind authority, wealth. So truth will be revealed.
The face in the moon, that's you.
What?
Torch in the tomb, that's you.
Well, the truth is that which is divine. And the truth will not remain hidden. It doesn't have to be accepted. It doesn't have to be approved of. The truth is what is true. And what I've come to accept is there's a father of creation, but it's beyond just a single gender. It's the source of all creation. That creative influence force that moves all electric, magnetic, chemical, physical, that which moves all of the forces, it's with us. It wants us to be authentic about what we know and who we are. But most people authentically don't know what they claim to know. And many people authentically don't know who they are. I used to live that way.
If somebody comes along to take my blues away, I hope I can say
I was just thinking the other day that if Jesus came back, we might kill him again. I mean, humanity's pretty violent. There's a lot of hateful people walking around this earth that seem to react emotionally and out of rage and envy and hatred. So I wonder how we could change that. Like there's a lot of hateful people even on YouTube and in chat rooms, and how do we get them to embrace love?
We offer it, we embody it, we help nurture the love that's within them. This comment brought up by Austin is kind of in line with what you were saying. I think the fact we still have people like police that think they're doing something good for society is fascinating at this point. Well, the militarization of the police is likely a response to the, returning combat veterans who weren't properly cared for, right? We have people in our nation that have either lived in and have fled war zones in their own life experience, or we've got men and women who voluntarily went into and enacted some of these war zones. We've got damaged people blindly supporting criminals.
Yeah.
And the damages are continuing each day. Wars have not changed. They've not changed anything. People are still waiting for this election cycle. It's the more, the longer we go through life enabling our own bad habits, we're denying that much life, right? An example, when I finally went to detox and started working on my path to health, how much money could I have saved? How much, how much health could I have preserved had I changed my ways sooner? Well, how many lives could be saved if we find a way to get America to change directions sooner?
Let's find a way. I mean, the election's not the way. The elections are just, I mean, they're just, there's nothing real about these stinky, shitty elections. But is there a problem though in terms of getting people? Do you think they're just blind, or do you think some actually love war, love hate? Do you think they might love doing that, or is it just blindness? Maybe some are low IQ. Like there's a lot of low IQ people around that say stupid shit.
Well, there's patterns to people, and I'm a firm believer of the way epigenetics is presented. People love what they know. They love the familiar. And so there's people who grew up in households. Well, if they wanted something that was placed on the table, they had to fight. They had to fight to get fed, fight to get what was theirs. So then they go out in society. They don't know any better. They love to fight. I was that way. It took a while for me to realize it's so simple, so obvious. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the only way to live. Focusing on you and your behavior, paying attention to what you're bringing forth. Self-awareness is the path to enlightenment, to success. Because if you don't examine yourself honestly, this world we have is filled with liars and enablers. Welcome, Nubs.
What's up, Jack? Surprised you let me up. Very surprised. Pleasantly surprised. I'm impressed, buddy.
Well, I tend
How are you doing today?
surprise a lot of people. Well, a lot of people get surprised by me because they underestimate me. But here's something, I heard this pointed out elsewhere. When you follow the Holy Spirit, that is the way the devil's defeated, because the Holy Spirit moves through spontaneity. Miracles are like that. The devil can analyze and it can predict, but it's limited in its awareness and its knowledge. Just like our egos, limited in awareness, limited in a knowledge, think we've figured everything out, think we know exactly what someone's going to say, we know what they're going to do. It's pretty arrogant when you stop and think about it.
I guess you're really right. We do receive what we receive, and we get what we get. I can't disagree with you.
Well, what one finds
What is the Holy Spirit?
What one finds is often based on what they seek. And if people don't pay attention, they don't know what they're seeking. Their spirit will lead them to the patterns they need to find. Here, actually, I love this question. The Holy Spirit. This is in line with where the topic of today is: redefining values, variables, redefining definitions, or maybe initially defining, finding a definition for yourself. What is the Holy Spirit? For me, what I recognized, right, our thoughts and our emotions are intertwined together. Our thoughts and emotions, there's really no separating between the two. It's like cause and effect. They happen. What I've found for myself is I identify my emotions as my spirit. It makes sense. The spirit isn't spoken, the spirit is realized and it's expressed through our feelings. And so I remind myself, if I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm feeling angry, I recognize that spirit of energy that's with me, and I intentionally seek whatever the opposite is. If I'm angry, I want forgiveness, I want peace. I'm seeking the spirit of peace. I'm seeking the spirit of comfort. I'm seeking the spirit of wholeness. These things are what I consider to be holy. Go ahead, Nubs.
Yeah. So you had you said that you believe that the Holy Spirit is tied to the emotions. What about like anger and frustration and defeat? What about those quote unquote negative? I don't see them as negative emotions, but what about those emotions? Do they also apply in that same category?
They are all energies are sourced. The true source of all energies is from love, even within us. We have love that gets confused in our minds, and we will feel hate. Well, the hate is just a lack of understanding. And the fear is just, it's a sign for us to realize there's something for us to know.
The reason I kind of disagree with that a little bit because, you know, reading in psychology books and whatnot, and also having, you know, people that are in mental health assistance, our conversations between that professional in this field and myself have come to the conclusion that fear and um, fear and love are the opposite, because the to live without fear would be to live in love, and vice
Correct.
versa. So
Correct.
when we're dealing with emotions and we have the emotion of fear, it has to be the opposite of love. It can't be consistent. And I understand where you're coming from. Like, you might love yourself, so you're going to do something against somebody else. So I get where you're coming from with that love aspect. However, that part of love is a self-love that is not, it's based in the ego area.
Right. Fear comes from the ego. The ego is the identity that feels absence from God, the absence from love. And so the ego within us, the mind and the patterns of belief, the self-centered belief that we are the physical body, it will push out God. And we won't even think about God. We won't think about love. And when we don't think about God, we don't think about love. We're going to imagine answers that we're going to believe as the truth. And then we're living in make believe. So the energy of love or fear, this is what, to support what you're saying, I realized that long ago in meditation, when I was trying to figure out what is holy, what is divine, what does these things mean. I looked at the embodiment of Christ. He was wisdom and love. The embodiment of those two divine attributes are what make the quality of a man. So that's what I realized my gifts were. My gift is my mind and my heart. I care. I care about so many things and so many people. It destroyed me. I cared so much. In meditation and considering the duality of life, it is each moment we can feel love or we can feel the absence of love and the distortion of love, which can be fear, hate, worry, all sorts of unsettling things. And they
Well,
can't exist.
hate and worry are derived out of fear.
Right.
Directly. Like if you look at the emotional spectrum, those two are absolutely derived directly out of fear, and fear being the opposite of love. So when you're talking about hating somebody is not the opposite of love at all. However, like you just said, we do trick ourselves out and figure out that we're not too smart by doing things like not loving ourselves. You know, I found in my own life that once I stopped letting people lie to me, I had to figure out how to stop lying to myself. Because, well, if I'm going to work without fear, like you live without fear, you know, that's absolutely why. Honestly, that's why I offered it right there, to come out to the place there and work for you at no charge, because it is scary. Because you and I have a, how do I put it, rocky relationship. And so to come out to work for you in that capacity, I would be working without fear, because I would be trusting that you would be an honorable man, and vice versa. I think it'd be a great idea, man. But there I go thinking again. Go ahead.
That's what I was just going to say, Nubs. You think a
Yeah,
lot of
I
things.
know. You were gonna throw me under the bus and love me with all nothing but force and good love. Do I make you tired, Jack? Because watching you loop makes me rather tired, and I tend to yawn. Yes. My son just reminded me that you have called for genocide on the human race to take me out. It was so to come work for you, you know, I'm kind of putting myself at risk. And there goes the yep, right there. Just touch it. Just touch it, Jack.
Hey, can you shut up for a minute?
Probably not. Hate comes from fear. Hate
Yeah,
comes
that's
from
where
fear. My son just reminded you.
yeah, here's the thing. I love myself
To
and
hate me.
you offer me no value, Nubs. In your imagine, and I've sat here and listened to your bullshit narrative of I can go do this. And you just got to pay for this and this and this, and then you can do this. No, Nubs. You're untrustworthy. I have no respect for you because you're dishonest. So, Nubs, I'm done with you today. You're a juvenile child. Unless, Stephen, Paul, do either of you care to try and communicate with this fool?
I'm liable to
Anyone?
become the next target, the next fool, so I'll just stay quiet. Seems to be working well.
That's smart.
Paul, you
I
can obsess
respect
over
that.
me. I think that Nubs has some issues.
He
I don't
does.
know.
He's
Yeah.
prideful, arrogant. He's very selfish. He's very demeaning and disrespectful.
Yeah.
Hey,
He's
Jack, I
looping
think
in his head.
Jennifer wants to add something in. She just said twice over the last four things you said, that's you, meaning you. I don't know. Maybe she can get involved.
I'm sure Jennifer's a good enabler for you, just like Nubs.
She looks a bit like Nubs.
Well, Nubs is the result, in my opinion, not blaming, but he loves Paulie Boy. And
Yeah.
Paulie Boy has made it clear that in Paul's opinion, it's okay to publicly disrespect Jack. So Nubsies is a fool who enables Paul in his behavior. And Jennifer, if you're listening, well, Praise God. Look at the signs.
Does Jennifer have to pay all her own bills and stuff? Like she doesn't. What is she with Polly for? I don't understand. Okay, it's okay.
Right. The only thing a woman could be with a man with for is if they foot the bill. You just gave us an insight in your relationship.
Well, I think you're in love with
any of
me.
them exists at all.
I think you're a homo because I think you're in love with me.
It's kind of weird.
Polly.
It's kind of weird that you would reveal that your only value to the opposite sex would be that you're going to pay for
my
their
value
shit.
is beyond
Very
measure.
revealing, sir. Thank
Not
you.
at all. I never said that at all. You're a narc, putting words in my mouth.
Hold on,
Paul,
Stephen.
you have no value.
Stephen.
Go ahead, Jack.
Please.
Go ahead. Please.
Let's not be dishonest. Paul clearly has value. And
No.
Well, and
He's
Stephen,
fat. I mean, he eats all the food. Jennifer doesn't get any.
Stephen, what Paul is pointing out.
Let's stop fantasizing, okay?
Stop cutting him off.
Stephen,
come on.
If you would listen to what Paul says, and I'm not here saying he's always right, but what he was just saying, you reveal a lot about you.
Not at all.
What you point out.
You don't know about me. You don't know what people value in me.
Stephen,
Jack.
You show
Jack.
Stephen,
you're not exactly a success in life, Jack.
Hey,
with women, with family, with
clue,
anything.
Dude, you have no clue. Stephen, I've been criticized, as Hank pointed out, I was criticized again for tolerating you in my experience. So for you to sit here with Paul trying to present the narrative that disrespects me, not going to happen. Welcome, Goblin.
Hey, how's it going, Jack?
I am, my brother. And because I am, I choose to be with love. Thank you for asking. I'm filled with love. What's going on with you?
You're making progress, Jack. I've been noticing.
I realize. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. And I know there's others who are as well. And here's something, though, that is true. I don't know if I confirmed it. The other day, Zach Hubbard from Gematria News popped in. And he offered the observation of me that why is Jack doing this? Why does Jack allow these trolls to show up? I believe in miracles.
Zach has actually been, he's been on some narration stuff too. You know, I talked to a lot of these people in the background that have been around this platform for quite some time. He's actually done a few attacks on some other old school quote unquote truthers.
That's not the point, Goblin.
Why do you do it? I know why you do it, because you're overcoming it and you're also trying to offer what you have to offer to the world for a positive message.
Thank you. And I actually believe that I can help these people. If Snafu, Tommy, Stephen, even Paul, if you guys would listen, our conversations would be so much more fun.
Jack, really I think I've been doing a great job today listening.
Today
I've spoken very little.
Yes, and I do appreciate it too. I mean, not just the silence, but I appreciate your willingness to find a way to cooperate.
Submit, yield. I'm submitting and yielding to you. I want that to happen.
But that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for submission or yielding. I'm looking for, frankly, peers willing to cooperate. So
I'm looking for the same thing, Jack. I found few and far between, but I mean, I'm open to it.
I still have faith that it can be.
So do I.
Everything is coming together, regardless of the past, regardless of everything that's happened in the microcosm of our individual lives and the macrocosm of the universal past. We are the solution for the future, individually and for each other. And I truly believe that through connections here online, people know people. People online know people offline. And we could coordinate and put forth the idea of a call to action, right? Universal strategy. Everyone confront, communicate peacefully reach out and communicate with the same purpose. End of wars, immediate reforms. It's time. It's that's what happened with me in my personal life. I had to put my foot in the sand and say, enough, Jack, it's time to change. And here in the land of America, if we do this together, it won't be just one person. It won't be just a small group. It will be all of us aligning for what is right. And what is right, what is wrong is the continuing militarization and policing of not just the lands of America, but the lands everywhere. Hey, Devil, you are one of my best soldiers. Are you backing out of our agreement? No, I'm inviting you, Devil. Join me. Join me in our path and purpose to righteously lead those in darkness into the light. Encouraging, we could create this movement. This is the time. We are the generation. It can happen. And some of these ideas, we start communicating with those people within the systems, and we encourage people to start standing up and speaking out about the corruption that's happening. I mean, what's the Maxwell and what's his name, Epstein or whatever? Where's the pursuant uh, justice for all of those other people involved in the child trafficking, exploitation? You know, it's being shown in other areas of celebrity now too. So imagine how much of that sickness is actually hidden behind the government nonsense. I saw something about the banking class too, doing those
Well,
stupid
yeah,
parties.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jack, because actually, even though, you know, they are the same people that put these films out, these movies out, you know, through Hollywood and whatever the case may be. And in that movie, The Sound of Freedom, they even told you that the American gov is the largest consumer. Right in the movie, they said that. And that's who presented the movie on Netflix. You know what I mean? It's all good. It's double time.
The devil has been telling mankind what it's doing. And with willful defiance, willful ignorance, willful whatever, people have been volunteering, voluntarily serving this corrupt society by spending our money, supporting these corporations that actually oppress their workers. Every time we fuel up, we're supporting these petroleum industries that are literally wreaking havoc, destroying the lands all over the place.
So, Jack, why are you receiving funds from the United States corporation to live off of then? If they're going to just use this system to get more bills passed, to extract more taxes for supposed entitlement programs for folks like yourself to feed the beast of the system to roll along and proliferate and do expansionism.
That's
Why
quite
not withdraw your consent from the system on every level as much as possible?
It's fascinating that you have to ask that question, but let me show what I heard. You see no value in what I'm doing because then you can question how I'm able to afford doing what I'm doing. Not that I'm promoting anybody. I'm not promoting anybody to go get benefits from the government. And as a matter of fact, while I do qualify, I'm sure I'm not receiving anything other than what was contractually agreed to when I was a child. So by by the representative of the VA who examined my records and my body when I was, set free from enslavement, voluntary enslavement. They identified that they damaged me a little bit. And so they agreed to compensate me for the physical changes I experienced during my service. So I know you don't have respect for me or the fact I
Did you go to war, Jack?
or the fact that I've lived the life that I have.
Did you go to war?
No, I did not. I've been honest about that.
So how and where were you damaged?
My shoulder was injured during, I don't know, I abused my body for the military for my job. I carried shit that I shouldn't have carried, and I did it in ways that I probably shouldn't have. But whatever. Does that matter? See, the things you
kind of when it comes to personal accountability or responsibility.
Right. How about this, though, Paul? What you're seeking to find in others is what you actually lack in yourself. You lack self-accountability. You lack self-responsibility. You present the words, but Paul, the fact that you want to key in on that, why are you still getting that disability, and present this bullshit narrative of me? Why are you focused on that instead of anything else I've said?
Because there's glaring hypocrisies that keep you from being received as credible and virtuous.
Paul, look at the beam in your eye. And
I'm not denying that. I'm not denying hypocrisy may be an element of the human.
Well, Paul,
I'll see you later, Jack. You seem to be doing just fine.
I am. You're welcome to see your way out. Hey, wonderful timing. Welcome, Zach.
I was actually hoping he wouldn't leave.
I don't know how he whoops. That was divine timing. Sincerely.
Yeah, Paul just wants to find the things that he doesn't like about people and focus on that rather than the commonality and where we can ally. And again, I came across Paul because he was on Brian's channel back in 2022 is when I saw it. And I liked what I was hearing, and I just wanted to reach out and see if he wanted to collaborate. And I didn't know that he had any idea who I was. But then he decided to play this game. And then when he got me to react, then he kicked me off the stream. And then he said, oh, see, I knew that guy. I knew I could get him. And I'm just thinking, because I watched that after I got kicked off, and I thought, why was that what he wanted to do? Somebody reaches out to promote you and say, hey, come on my channel. I don't have as big of a channel as Brian. Brian's never been deleted. I've been deleted 20 some times. I'd probably have a lot bigger channel than Brian if I hadn't been deleted. I guarantee you, when I go out on the streets of New York, I'll bring out a bigger crowd than Brian will. But all I did was reached out to help him
Zach,
out.
you turned on those people, Zach. Same
hold on.
people that you met with, you turned.
Who did I turn on?
Hold on here. Just a moment. I'm not sure. He brought something up about you earlier, and I didn't entertain it. Paul has returned. Now, he's willing to offer his feedback, and I'm sure we can find it. But Zach, what happened? For whatever reason, this is what he does. I see it as signs of an immature ego. He's got jealousy, and to keep himself from being jealous, he finds problems with everyone but himself. So he could be a value and someone to collaborate with. I agree with that, and I saw that myself. But Paul does not work well with others.
Yeah,
Zach, you wanted to address me. You keep going over here. I don't know why. I have a broadcast I do every day. You're aware of it. So I don't know why you go to every other broadcast to talk about me. But here I am. If you'd like to interact with me.
Every other one.
If you're kind of confused about, again, somehow, some way you're confused about my decision, I can clarify it for you again for the 10th time if you'd like.
Same excuses. I can give you the same excuses.
Again, I have a compilation video of him begging, going from $1 a month to he should get 100,000 a month to $1 million to he should get billions to everyone else is a sorry ass motherfucker. I don't trust him. I don't think he has integrity. I don't know of any work he does on the ground. I think he's purely an online grifter. Why would I want to work with that person?
Paul, you don't look for integrity. You don't look for reasons.
I'll ask him again like I did that day, and I didn't know of him. He knew of me. He's playing damage control reverse games. I said I know who that is, and I've clarified when I said that I meant spiritually. I wasn't aware of you. They told me later on the open broadcast, it's all there to watch, who you were and where you're from. I had no idea of who you were and your channel.
Paul,
what's with the hand signs? Are you going to act like a little boy?
Let him talk, Paul. Let him talk.
Hey, Zach, why don't you come meet me somewhere in person? Are you open to meet me in person?
I'd be happy to. I invite you to come out with us.
Yeah, why don't no invites to come out to your public events. Why don't you email me and talk to me privately in person? Why everything out in public in the open?
Paul,
that's the way you like it, Paul.
You're absolutely right. So I can show you all who.
Why are you bitching about
You're
what you
absolutely
want?
Right.
Paul, can
I want to see who little Zachy boy is away from the camera, as if I don't know.
Why don't you let him talk
you
now?
can see me out on the streets, Paul. Paul, see,
you don't go anywhere. You don't do anything.
When you went on your little rant after you got me off the first time we interacted, you said you were just watching me out on the streets of New York, and then you went on to say that I can only speak when I have a group of people around me, which isn't true. So
what do you do on the ground to make a change? What do you do in your own life without a group to make a change? He's censoring me and muting me. What do you do individually to make a change?
You're interrupting and you're not actually listening.
I'm asking a question like I asked.
I didn't ask for your excuses. I'm pointing out your behavior, Paul, and what you're doing is you're playing your power games. You're not actually listening to what the feedback is. You want to play this tough boy. Why don't you meet up?
So here's the thing about Paul, and sadly, it seems like a lot of your channel, Jack, is the people who follow Paul. And honestly, here's what I see in a guy like Paul. Paul's trying to act like he's tough right now. Now, Paul, I would be embarrassed to upload the video you did about a month and a half ago where you would not tell the cops your own name, but then you asked the woman who was with you to share her name. So I was like, wow, Paul hides behind a woman. That's something I would never do. So again, for this acting like this tough guy online, I see who you are. You're the type of guy who would hide behind a woman when you feel that you're in danger. That's who I see that you are, Paul. And again, just right there, he revealed that he's a liar too, because he did know who I was. And again, all I did was reach out to collaborate. He had to turn it into a scene. And you see, he's not a serious individual. And all these people that hang out with him who come into your channel, Jack, I'd encourage you to maybe move on from these people because they are not coming here to learn or to contribute. They're just coming here to, I don't know, whatever it is about Paul and his community, something about just being online, giving people a hard time, instigating, triggering people, seeing if you can get their goat. I mean, this is just their game every day. The guy who came on a little bit ago, who I assume is also from Paul's community, he has the sunglass thing and the sharp nose, looks like the rest of the Saturday crew that Paul hangs out with, if you follow what I'm saying. Again, just the way he talks in the condescending tone, he asked, like, I don't know what I need to do as a person to get motivated to become a better person. Or he made some statement like that. He said he just wants to have fun and, you know, whatever, do coke and whatever else he said. You know, that was my mindset when I was 18 years old. And then something happened in the world that made me realize that there was more to life than chasing women and smoking weed and doing a little coke and partying. I mean, we all have that inside of us, that we want to have that fun and entertainment and pleasure. But there should be something else inside of us that when we see that there's something like seriously wrong in the world, that as a man, you should feel like compelled to do something about that serious problem. That's what I saw when I was 18, when 9/11 happened. I wasn't anybody's fool, and I knew we were obviously being lied to. And I remembered how just a summer earlier, I was in a military recruiter's office, and he was telling me that this was the best time ever to join the military because there'd probably never be another war in my lifetime. He was acting like he was 1,000,000% sure about that. And I didn't want to be a part of the U.S. military because I understood from a young age it was kind of a force that was deployed to kill innocent brown people. That's kind of always how I saw the U.S. military. And so I didn't join the military, but I thought, man, I almost did to get that money for school. And I thought, man, I'd probably being deployed right now to go bomb some innocent brown people because supposedly a man in a cave did this. What a load of BS. But I knew we were being lied to, and I saw how serious it was, how serious the lie was, how obvious the lie was, how obvious the demolition of the towers was. And then I said, you know what? I'm an 18-year-old person. I'm going to Arizona State University, partly because I got a scholarship there, but also because there's not a lot of nice ladies, and it was a fun place to be. But then I had this shift in my worldview of like, I need to improve myself as a person. I need to figure out what I can do to solve this corruption that I see. And so anyhow, I'm talking too long, but the point I'm saying is there are problems in the world, and most people are totally apathetic to these problems, and that they're acting like, again, the way I feel is we're watching a house burn, and almost everybody's acting like that's not their house burning. And the metaphorical house is this earth. We're watching it just deteriorate in so many ways. I look at the children of the earth as I drive past the elementary school at recess time, and I see that, like, the statistics aren't false. Literally half of them are obese. And I think, oh my God, when I was a kid in the 90s, there was one obese child out of 500 in the school.
Zach, please. Yes, all of those things. We're seeing the world changing, and the corruption is undeniable. I didn't wake up. I mean, I started asking questions around 9/11, but I didn't pursue investigating. But when I started looking, people have done investigations. There's people who have been sharing the truth of the corruption and all this nonsense that's going on. So back to where we are in these YouTube, in this online little realm, I feel like I'm here trying to go in this direction, and I've got like this barrier of these other panels that go around talking about Jack, not in good ways, but so I've got a dark cloud around me, including Paul, who's still in the back, that I'm hoping to break through. But what I see in Paul and many of the others who have found their way here, we're all on this life journey. Some of these, what Paul can learn is some humility so that he can become more authentic. And when he authentically is willing to cooperate with people, well, that's an example for others. So
absolutely. Again, if Paul could just drop the whole ego thing and just focus on the knowledge that he's aware of that most people don't have, and just focus his time on teaching that and sharing that and wanting to collaborate. And if somebody reaches out to him and says, hey, do you want to come share that on my channel? Just be like, absolutely, that's what I'm here to do, rather than look for some reason to be like, oh, you're not worthy of. It's not about who's worthy of you.
Right.
Don't you want to get out your message?
That's the key.
So
Paul's been patient. If he wants to respond, I'd like to give him a chance.
More condescending, disingenuous, fake bullshit. You just made a statement about me and my character. It's a false statement. I wasn't hiding behind a woman. Okay. I wasn't on the paperwork. So if the man, what's with the faces? What's with all the faces?
Because we all saw the video where you encourage her to put out her name and you don't say anything.
I said, you're on the paperwork. If you wish to give your given and family name to check with the owner so they can verify that you're on that paperwork, we can go from there. I don't hide behind people. So I don't know where you got that from. I met Jennifer a year and a half, 2 years ago. I've been doing this for close to a decade, over 5 online. And I've sacrificed many times and dealt with consequences many times. So you just projected onto me to get back at me because you don't like how I've dealt with you. But there's a reason why I didn't want to work with you and still don't. And you keep ignoring that and projecting onto me and what I'm doing to spin the narrative. Why don't you just take accountability?
Paul, you find excuses and you give these variables so much weight that you can't find a way to understand. You can't find a way to respect. Paul, you're confused, brother.
Okay, I'm confused.
Yes.
So just let me be that then.
Why?
I say you're cowardly. You say I'm confused. I guess you're not, and I am. Let it be that.
Why don't you not care to resolve or overcome your confusion.
I'm open to it if I can hear something that compels me to accept what you're putting forth with any kind of gravitas, but I don't. I hear arguments to false authority and appeals to emotion. I don't see or hear any accountability.
Your ego is filtering what you hear with all these labels and definitions. And if you actually just allowed yourself to chill and really listen to the feedback and what's being said, you're not under attack. People are offering you, Paul, if you considered this, your life might improve. The lives of other people might improve. I mean,
so wait, is this about my life improving or other people's lives improving?
You're an aspect of the world. I care about the world. I really don't. I do and I don't care about you. I mean, I've grown to love you, but God, your fucking ego, man.
Wait, I thought that your scripture says that you're not supposed to love the world in its ways. Quite the opposite.
Those words are often misunderstood. How about we love the life we've been given, despite
absolutely.
Our place
Can you
in the
point
world?
me to what you folks do that show that you're thankful and grateful for the life and time you've been given to go past the fears and deal with the challenges and live in faith and honorability?
Yep, sure can. But you haven't been willing to look.
I didn't say, am I looking or not? I said, can you put that forth? We've been waiting for 3 years for both of you to put something forth that you actually do other than.
Right. See what you're doing. You're not paying attention. You're trying to repeat. And what I'm offering is that the evidence of good is there for you to find.
Again, you could say that I'm shallow and judgmental. You could take one look at this guy. You could take one look at this guy and tell not only is he a coward and a beta male, but that he's disingenuous and he's a fraud. You could tell by just his facial expressions and the way he speaks.
Are you talking about yourself? Yeah.
No one describes you better than yourself, Paul.
I don't count numbers and sell sports scores.
Here. Again,
I don't sell sports scores for gambling. I don't ask for millions of dollars a month to get my father a house.
And then, and the next sentence, you're talking about what I've been doing. Again, Paul, for 5 years, I was here every day putting out unprecedented information for free, not raising any money, not selling anything, no ads, nothing. Doing it on my own savings, making my own sacrifice, and I changed a lot of people's lives.
You and everybody else online. What does that lead to?
The ways I changed people's life. Living a life of service and not asking for anything in return. And for doing that, my house was ransacked November 15, 2014. I lost
because you were serving yourself. You weren't serving a higher calling.
And had cars crashed through
You're not getting it. You're not getting it.
A lot of stuff, Paul.
The demons want you back. They don't believe you and your bullshit online hype, right? That's why your service didn't amount to anything. Because it was self-indulgent. You proved that long term when you switched your whole setup to pay me monthly. I got sports scores for gambling. You even admitted on my broadcast that your woman told you make some money or she's gone. You admitted that.
That's not what
so you're a simp trick. The Babylonian harlot Jezebel got you. You didn't pass the test. You failed. And ever since you think because you got some money and a few thousand viewers.
You try to shift the truth of things and then put it in your own perspective, which is dishonest. No, Sweet Lady and I did butt heads in 2018 when the feds came out to my house to intimidate and falsely accuse. And she said, look at everything you have going, Zach. You've had everything stolen from you. You've had the house ransacked. Your profession won't hire you anymore. You're blacklisted from teaching. Now you got the feds coming out here and threatening you. She said, you got to switch something up. I said, what do you think about monetizing the sports work? What should we see? And she said, well, you can try that and see what happens. That appeased her. That didn't mean she was out of here if I didn't do that. And you know why people came in and rushed in to financially support for the sports work? Because I changed a lot of people's lives with that work. Just like we're doing it every week in the National Fix League. Again, Paul, I don't know why you're such a hater about it. Again, look, I'm not trying to make this about a gambling thing.
You're
but again,
wasting your breath.
Turn $1 into $500.
You're wasting your breath.
Skill.
You're not going to get anywhere with it. You got to show proof. You got to show proof of what it is,
look
what
at all
you're
the bet
doing.
slips. Just go look on the thing.
Matter.
What do you mean show proof? There's proof all over the place.
Well, and that's what I was trying to point out. Paul's not looking for the proof. He's looking for, he has cognitive bias. He looks for confirmation of what he thinks. He doesn't look at what is real. Paul has been publicly mocking me as a man. A couple of years now.
But you know why, Jack? Because sometimes he admits it. The reason he's mad is because your dad or his father
I know.
is in your channel. He said that he has a jealousy about that. And the
Well,
thing is too, Paul just came up in
the
my feed out
ego.
of nowhere after 2 years of not interacting with him. I decided to hop back in and try it out again because I still do like things about Paul, even though I don't like his character. I can separate the character that I don't like from Paul from what he has to offer.
Right.
But I hop in there and immediately he's talking about what's going on with my financial life and what he believes, like how many homes I own. And I was just
Right.
like, this isn't even the conversation. But then you see, he's like,
Exactly.
I'm not paying attention to you. It's like, really? You seem to be up on everything the trolls are saying. You seem to be right in tune with everything the
Right.
whole troll network's got going against me.
Right.
And see, the thing is, Paul, I got introduced to through Brian, and Brian's another guy who likes to cast shade at me for no reason, even though you would think him and I are on the same page. Neither of us like the federal government. We both think it needs to be done away with. You think Brian would be receptive to what I'm saying. You would think Paul would be receptive to what I'm saying. Him and I are largely aligned along with you. All three of us are largely aligned on what we don't like. We don't like this
And
tirade.
why we're not working together instead of talking about each other, I have no clue. So why are we? Brian is another one, man. He's another great guy, very strong, very educated, but he's caught up in the damn money system just like Paul. They can't think beyond the fiat currency, and it's like, hey, we are.
Paul, like Jack and I are here to put out a message and try to make positive change. I want to say that you are too, but the thing is, anytime anyone tries to interact with you, you just turn it into some reason to make it a hate fest. And look at the people who are following you. Just a bunch of weirdo hater trolls. Is that what you want your legacy to be, Paul? That you brought more hater, weirdo trolls into the world online who hide behind anonymous screen names?
Zach, here, we don't want to categorize everyone like that. There are many, and this is what I've been saying. What I see, what I honestly see with Paul, and I've tried communicating this with him personally, but he doesn't want to talk to someone like me. He wants to argue. It's a group and a gathering of people who are trauma bonding. Paul and many of these open panel conversations, the behavior is worse than high school kids who are lacking purpose, right? It's grown men and women entertaining themselves by complaining, by blaming, by arguing, by gossiping. Paul, when you're not gossiping, complaining, and blaming, you have a lot of wisdom that can be shared. The world is crying out for leaders, not bosses and bullies, but Paul doesn't understand. He doesn't understand groups, the group dynamic, working together.
He's very individualistic, and he'll even speak about that. And that's exactly how the cabal, the people who rule over us, want us to be, because they know if we're all just a bunch of individuals, that we're never going to overcome what they have organized against all of us. That's why, Paul, when you speak to that, you become part of the problem.
That's what I've been saying.
It's like he thinks he has it all figured out. Paul, you have a great thing figured out that most people are not aware of. It's a very valuable set of knowledge that you do have. And I don't know why you just don't spend all your time sharing that. You'd be doing a lot better online if you just spent all your time sharing that knowledge and collaborating. You'd have a way bigger audience. Whatever you're trying to achieve, you'd be a lot closer to achieving it.
That's the reason I'm here, Jack. If I could, Paul does have great knowledge and everything of what's going on with the sovereign cit or whatever. I know that's like the wrong term or whatever, the detached American jurisdiction, citizen, non-citizen, whatever. But the time has come, and the judges and the courts and the police are onto this stuff. And so you guys want accountability for Paul. Well, the Times are going to be holding Paul to account. It's pretty much, I'm seeing channels pop up. They're not putting up with this stuff. They're calling it out. They're laughing it out of court. they're getting convicted, and the jig is up, kind of, so to speak. So, I just wanted to, let Paul know that you're going to have to adapt a little bit now, and maybe like add a prepper tag to your knowledge, because I think that game is coming to an end. And I respect Paul. Heck, I even fear the guy when I'm up on his panel, and I know Jesus Christ. So, I think that he does have a lot of talent. He's got leadership qualities, and I'm rooting for him. But I just want to make him aware of what's going on.
Well,
so if you want him to be accountable, the times are changing. It's going to hold him to account. That's all I have.
Right. You're absolutely right. If you guys care about Paul, please, I've been unable to get through to him, but maybe if someone who Paul trusts would encourage him to actually have a conversation with me instead of his looping arguments. I actually know leadership very well. The principles of it, they're very simple. It just takes the willingness and the mentorship for it to flourish. But I understand leadership. I could help Paul become a greater leader. I could help others become greater leaders. I mean, that's kind of what my hope is in stepping out on these social media, is I'm hoping to find people who are willing to make some introductions, help me grow with these messages, greater platforms. And it doesn't have to be on my channel. I just want to share the message out. It's time for the world to change. And if we want the world to change, it's going to be through us.
Well, can I say something here, Jack? Because my phone's about to die, and I've been listening to a lot of nonsense about Paul and a lot of time wasted on Paul. There's a lot of talk. I don't see a lot of doing. I spent this entire week taking taxpayers' dollars and handing out water and food and MREs and diapers, adult diapers, tampons, pads, baby wipes to all these hurricane victims. And I can tell you, it's a freaking calling. Like, I have literally changed so many people's lives just with my one little van here. And you're talking about, the government, this and that. Yeah, I hate the government, but I tell you what, we're putting money to work for these people. These people haven't had a hot meal. These people haven't had, diapers for their babies, dog food for their dogs. We're on here, all of us grown men, talking about a bunch of bullshit. And you got people in North Carolina, all through state of Florida. These people are ravaged, man. And the feeling that you get when you do something for your community, like actually do something for your community, I don't see anybody on any of these fucking panels doing that. Nobody. That's what we need to do, is you need to get boots on the ground. You need to get out there and do some shit. Do something for the community.
Well, absolutely. I completely agree about getting out there and doing something. And you obviously aren't familiar with me. I get out there and do things. I went out and gave away thousands of dollars of stuff to get people out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on March 13, 2020, and rushed out a book ASAP that was 1,000,000% on the money about how long the pandemic would last, the scam, and what was going to come with those clot shots, because I had already figured out all that research from being way ahead of the game.
So you went door to door to people who didn't have food,
weather warfare.
people who didn't have shit to change their babies' diapers with. Those are the people you were helping.
Steve.
See, you're trying to put, no. Right. You can't even put down what I'm saying. We raised awareness about what was coming, this agenda of death and depopulation before it happened. And we almost got on the news. Had we had more people come out, if I would have had $50,000 of stuff to get away, we probably would have had a big enough crowd out there to get people out. But people come out for free stuff. And I gave away nice, expensive hoodies and merch and got a lot of people out there. So I commend what you're doing. But understand, the knowledge I've been working my ass off to get out, you know what? If the world had gotten behind that, you wouldn't be having to give out what you're giving out right now to the hurricane victims, because that's not Mother Nature, if you're not aware of that. That's not Mother Nature.
No, this is our federal government taking the tax dollars.
I explained how bad this hurricane season was going to be this year, a year ago.
Here, please. Zach, thank you. Steve, thank you for being out there, being the hands and feet, and being a neighbor. And I'm glad to hear the way you said it too. It's you're cooperating with and supporting the federal aid that's been shared. I understand what Zach's saying. The past brought us to here, and we could all, I agree completely, Steve, but please don't underestimate people, because I know that when I'm not online, my focus, my care is on making a better world. And it's going to take us all. It really will take us all to make a change. But this is why, another example of why, well, aid being shared is a good sign, but that's something else I wanted to get across to Congress. We've got all of these healthy men and women fit for war. Let's use those resources and the people, the personnel, to truly get in and start restoring, rescuing, and then we can start restructuring, rebuilding. But until
Nothing, I can tell you, Jack, nothing I've done in my entire life has even come close to the experience this week of going to these, I mean, cities that I'm the only white dude there. People happy as shit to see me, happy to have a hot meal from the American Red Cross, you know, happy to have diapers for their kids, happy to have tampons, happy to have adult diapers for these old elderly people in these old trailer park communities. They don't have any water. They're giving out tarps, half the roofs torn off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's fucking important. All this other stuff is just freaking rhetoric. We're just talking about it over and over.
Can we pause for a second, though? Can we pause? Because knowledge is actually paramount. I understand that it's great to help out people, and that's why when I was younger, I quit a 6-figure job to work for minimum wage in a group home and volunteered at a teen homeless shelter so I could help people and redeem myself. Redeem my soul. I was working in a corrupt real estate industry. I wanted to do something positive. So I totally get where you're coming from, and it is the greatest human reward to help others. But knowledge is more paramount than anything. And part of what you just said is actually, it's kind of sad. The Red Cross is one of the most evil industries in the entire world. The majority of the money they take, they keep for their bureaucracy. And what is the Red Cross? The Red Cross comes from the Templars, who are the original bankers.
See, now you're going to run into this bullshit, and I can tell you, they showed up
bullshit.
in their van.
It's not bullshit.
Because they showed up in their van with hot fucking meals for people.
Not bullshit.
No questions asked. So don't give me that bullshit.
It's not
bullshit. You can have your ideology, whatever you want to know.
Let's stop arguing.
They don't have any way to fucking read your book. They don't have any way to get online.
This guy doesn't know shit.
Okay.
Hey,
I'm going to interrupt this.
Hey, asshole. Hey, asshole.
No, Zach, not insulting, please. Okay.
Hey, Jack. I think one thing that Steve Storage says is that your purpose can change at any point in time in your life. You know, you don't have to be stuck on one thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I've learned for myself. Our purpose does change. And when there's an opportunity, when there's a calling, as many of us that can answer should answer.
Jack, can I interject, though? See,
Please.
Listen, I do not disagree that helping people is the thing we should be doing. But if we don't have knowledge, we are not going to overcome what's happening in the world. And see, I had to make that chip remark. Nobody needs to read your bullshit book. Asshole. Had my book been viral, people would have seen through this scandemic and they would have known not to get the clot shot. And there'd be a lot more people still here today. There'd be a lot less profits for criminal Pfizer and Monsanto. And you know what else? Had they read the book before that, they'd understand weather warfare. If you were aware of my channel, you would have known why a real bad hurricane season was coming this year, because I laid out exactly how it would happen. And all year I've been talking about watch out for September 25th because they do it every year. You know what happened September 25th, 1961? JFK gave his speech about the future of weather control. What happened this year on September 25th? Oh, that's right. Hurricane Helene formed. And it wasn't arbitrary the day it formed. See, again, what I get frustrated about is people like him. He thinks he doesn't need knowledge. And he's promoting the Red Cross.
Here, please,
you know how
please,
criminal the Red Cross
please,
is?
Zach, please don't read too much into what you're seeing, okay?
You got to, though, Jack. My people suffer for lack of knowledge.
Right. Well, Zach, right. So what are we going to do with this knowledge? We're sharing it to the masses. I want to get it on the world stage. That's truly what. Well, while we're complaining about each other for not doing enough or not doing things we think others should be doing, we're missing sight. We have opportunities that we've not yet tested, that we haven't yet explored. I've been trying to get the attention of local city officials, state officials, federal officials, because I think the masses, the majority of people, don't know what they're participating in.
Of course they don't.
Right. So everything can be changed, though, too. Even the Red Cross, while the formulation and the symbols, we can't overlook the good. We can capture the good within even these corrupt systems, and we can get rid of the crap that doesn't serve us. But it is time for humanity to unite and overcome what was.
Humanity can only unite though through knowledge. It's going to be knowledge that unites humanity.
If I can step in here, because I wasn't able to explain myself out there. You know, you're talking about research and stuff that you're posting online. I'm talking about being on the ground, seeing what things are being done for these people who haven't had a hot meal in weeks. And they pulled up no problem. Hot meals. I mean, I probably gave out 100 hot meals to these people that haven't had any food. And you're going to sit there and tell me how they're evil and all this. That's fine. We go down the rabbit holes. We search everything that's wrong with something, and then we promote that knowledge of that. But I can tell you, have you ever seen?
It's not down a rabbit hole. It's common sense.
That's fine. It's common sense. It's common sense to you. It's not common sense to everybody else who doesn't have access to a computer.
You don't have enough knowledge
or a phone.
I
have all the
knowledge.
rabbit holes. Trust me, I'm extremely smart.
You don't know who the Templars are?
I'm not. I don't fall into a faith or religion
that's
to
why
guide
you're repping the Red Cross.
I'm not repping the Red Cross. I'm telling you what the Red Cross does in reality.
They give out 100 hot meals after they just destroyed a million lives.
How do they destroy lives again? What do they do to destroy lives?
What do you know about Project Curious, the first military experiment of hurricanes in 1947?
So we're going to go about the whole cloud seeding and all this stuff, right?
Cloud seeding. You know Kurt Vonnegut? You know Kurt Vonnegut, his brother Bernard Vonnegut, who worked for General Electric, who was one of the chief pioneers in weather warfare.
You're very well versed in whatever history it is that you're researching on this, but have you ever seen Red Cross show up in a van and give out hot meals to all these people that are in need? Have you ever seen that?
Have you seen when Red Cross turns down all the volunteers and tells you not to show up too, like for Katrina? Because I got to experience that back in 2005.
You showed up, went there to go volunteer?
I did, and they said they don't need any volunteers while the city of New Orleans suffered.
Well, I was in New Orleans when they suffered. I was stationed there. So I can tell you it was
you happened to be
bad.
There, okay.
You couldn't even fucking get in.
But right, they kept everybody out because it was by design.
You couldn't get in. It was fucking flooded. When all those levees broke, you could not get in. So you can do your thing, and I'm not trying to fight with you, but when you're sitting there trying to tell me negative shit about the Red Cross, that's fine. Just like we got negative shit about federal government. I don't believe in the federal government, but I tell you what, for
it's all part of the
week and a half, I've been taking taxpayers' money along with a whole shit ton of volunteers, and we're out there door to door, handing out cases of food, handing out cases of water, handing out diapers, handing all this shit to people, and to see the tears in their eyes, to be thankful that somebody showed up and so appreciative. I tell you, it's changing what I want to do with myself in my life.
Well, that's awesome. That's right. Absolutely. I felt way better about myself when I was making $10 an hour working in a group home and volunteering at a homeless shelter than when I was making six figures doing corrupt real estate deals.
Hey, let me jump in here, because that lesson, it's truly the path of enlightenment, the path of finding our purpose. The way we find ourselves is in service to others. That is really why we're here. What's the point of us surviving if we're not going to benefit the greater world that we live in? And I think that's what's happening right now in the world, in the greater picture. There's wars, there's disasters. People are having transformative experiences, not in good ways either. It's evidence that it's time for mankind to change. You guys familiar with Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers?
I'm not.
I'm surprised. He's an interesting guy too. He's studies the sun and the magnetic fields of the earth, and Earth has patterns of these climate worldwide catastrophes, these shifts in the way that nature operates, and there's signs that the world is changing. We're going through a transformation, and right now we're existing at an age where technology and where technology has surpassed our social and intellectual development. Kind of coming back to what you were saying, Zach, the key for humanity is your hat. Truth matters. We've got to share the truth. But prideful and afraid and egoic people, they don't care about the truth. They just care about what others think.
Sure. Jack, I want to make a point though for our friend who did do the nice thing, and that is to be commended and awesome work. And you're right. If you if you move your industry to something of service, you are going to be a lot happier and you're going to sleep better at night. But people, listen, if we do not inform ourselves about who's running this world and for what purpose, there's going to be a lot more people needing hot meals all over the place a lot more frequently. Again, these people had their plans etched up in stone for 42 years, and they were called the Georgia Guidestones, and they said to reduce the Earth's population to 500 million. And there's a reason they took it down on 7/6 on George W. Bush's 76th birthday, a member of a very prominent society, Skull and Bones, which gets its symbolism from how the Templars bury their dead. So this is where I see you're trying to do something nice, but at the same time, you're repping a very evil organization. And this is how evil works. They do little nice things in the daytime and say, oh, look at the nice thing we did. But then you don't realize that they're also using technology that's been developed since 1947 to bring that same destruction because they make way more money off it. Like you just said, you're using taxpayer dollars to hand out things. That's nice. But you know what those taxpayer dollars do for the bankers? Profit with interest. That's why all wars are bankers' wars, including weather warfare. Yes. Jack, please let me make this point, and then I'll shut up. 1947, look it up, Project Kiris. It was the first military experiment with the hurricane. It happened October 13th, 1947. There were other experiments between then. The longest ongoing study was Project Storm Fury, which went from 62 to 83. And there's a reason 83. And there's a reason Milton made landfall on the day, leaving 83 days left in the earth. It's another story. It has to do with Genesis 8:3 and where the biblical flood ends and why the agency that keeps track of all this stuff is called Noah. But anyway, 1947, that was the first on-the-record military experiment in the U.S. with a hurricane. That's also the year the brand Tropicana was established. And if you're watching CNN with the Milton thing, Anderson Cooper was supposedly on set in Bradenton, Florida, right next to the Tropicana headquarters all night. Now, what else happened the morning before Milton made landfall? They demolished the Tropicana Hotel in Vegas to make room for the new baseball team, the Athletics. And please listen, Jack, because I'm going to make a point about things that you really believe in that I want you to think more about. They demolished the Tropicana Hotel to make room for the Athletics baseball stadium. And then later that day, Milton rips the top off of Tropicana Field, another baseball stadium. Again, 1947, first hurricane experiment, also in Tropicana, the orange juice brand's established. Now, there's so much more to explain to this, but if you learn gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, you can see how all of these storms are perfectly named and make landfall accordingly systematically. Like, for example, Milton equals 83. It made landfall on the day, leaving 83 days left in the year. Like how the biggest hurricane experiment ended in 83. And they like to pay tribute to the biblical verses like Genesis 8:3, where the biblical flood ends. Again, storms bring flooding. These storms are being engineered. Our nation is not sovereign. They can destroy us with weather warfare, and they have a lot of towns. Paradise, California got wiped out by the code. Maui last summer got wiped out by the code. There's a million more layers I could explain to this, But again,
guys, seriously, I got to interrupt. This is important. This is really important. I just blew a homeless guy just to brighten up his day. Okay, I'm a very charitable person.
That's why you're not a
At
serious
Pimp
person,
Unslaved.
Paul.
I'll see you
That's
guys
why
in a
you're not
bit.
serious person. That's why you're not a serious person. You're not really about anything, Paul. Driving down the highway without a license plate's the pinnacle of government rebellion.
Zach, I've been waiting patiently.
Okay, but again, people need to know about the
No,
systems
not
that are in
again,
place.
Zach. Not again, Zach. I've been waiting patiently to get a point out. You're going to the past, my friend. Yes, there's patterns in gematria. There's all sorts of patterns of this corruption. Yes, there's evidence that the government and taxpayers' knowledge and resources have been used against us. So, what do? The path
So
to
the
freedom.
only thing to do is you can't look to your government officials to help you. You can't look to your media to help you.
Zach, I'm looking for people to help me.
People need to ally amongst knowledge. And just like Thomas Jefferson said, Thomas Jefferson told us a long time ago, he said, if you do not rebel every 19 years, you will lose rights, liberties, in your way of life. And he said 19 years because these people work on the 19-year cycle of the moon. Okay? It's rebellion or bust. It's revolution or bust.
Right. So let's do something.
People aren't going to know what to do unless they know who the enemy is.
I know the enemy. This is the thing. Our enemy is not flesh and blood. Our enemy is the principalities, the rulers of high places. Those are the governing bodies of corporate, banking, government that everyone has been willing to serve and ignore and fight about. So we have the opportunity to truly raise a voice from the people. And it doesn't have to be me, but let's find someone to get in front of Congress and demand enough is enough. The evil shows. There's no denying it's time for reforms.
This is the thing, Jack. The people you're asking to represent us in Congress aren't going to represent us. They're there to ignore us and make sure the status quo maintains. How
about we try? That's all I want to do.
Did you see the phone calls I made the day of the storm? The politician that was all over the news who represented the 26th district of Florida, who was on the news the day of Milton saying people were insane for questioning if the government could influence the weather. The reason they chose that guy to do that is because literally on his 26th birthday was the day that the U.S. Congress, it was January 17th, 1980. It was his 26th birthday. He's an older man now. That was the day the U.S. Congress passed the same bill they passed in Geneva in 1977, banning weather warfare. So this same man who wants to tell you when he was 26 years old, who now represents the 26th district, people can't influence the weather, yet we banned weather warfare January 17th, 1980, when the U.S. military had already admitted to it in the time of Vietnam. See, Jack, everyone's in the clouds not understanding what time it is. And
the time is now. It's time for the time is now. The evidence is clear. If we unite together, we have all the facts, we have the knowledge, we have the information. So if we unite together using the connections and technology of today, we can create some introductions, we can form kind of a network. And if people unite, we can overcome these divisions of wealth and authority. And then when secrets are no longer being protected by employees in the government, and these corporations don't have all their, decision makers sworn to secrecy with these non-disclosure agreements. I mean, if we want to corrupt the infiltration of the secret societies that has truly manifested itself within the systems, it's up to the people. So if we unite to overcome wealth and authority, we can bring changes. I know it. I trust this is God's plans for us. I really do.
Well, that's exactly what we have to do. And again, that's the point I'm making. And for all you guys in the chat who think like, again, I have passion, you guys. I'm outraged about the evil shit that's happening in the world. Again, what's the quote about? It's no sign of sanity to be well adjusted to a sick society. It goes something like that. I mutilated it, but that's essentially the sentiment. That's kind of what I see in people, just people who are so just chill and just adjusted to the evil and complacent. I'm outraged. I'm outraged that I have to pay tax. Well, Paul will be out there and say you don't have to pay taxes. Well, then you can end up in the slammer too if the IRS comes up your ass, which I've had to deal with in the past.
Hey,
But again, I'm outraged that I live in this system where I am made to comply by force, and I know that I'm having to pay for the weaponization that's being used against we the people. And also, you know, I'm glad that some of my tax money is going to a gentleman who's out feeding people, but I realize the only reason he's having to do that is because these psychopaths that have the keys to our military are choosing to use the technology in this way. When JFK talked about weather control, he talked about the future of not having drought. Instead, it's being used to instigate storms and wipe out people's livelihood.
Right.
Again, this has been going on, you guys. That derecho that went through Iowa 2 years ago.
Hey, Zach, please. Thank you. I know you're passionate. Okay. And here's something I want to point out. There's a reason we are gathering. I believe in divine order, that there's a reason for all things and the reasons we cross paths at this time on earth. The earth is nuts. It is not healthy to believe in what the world believes in. But Zach, what you said, my family, my friends, my career, all of that, it ended because I got a reputation of being angry. I had to work on my anger, brother. So I can help. What helped me with the anger is the belief that beyond the anger comes from the feeling of helplessness, hopelessness, of not being able to change it. But I convinced myself to believe with faith, we can change this world. And every day since 2018, since I got this idea in my head that, you know, through Congress, there could be a change in paying for wars to funding, you know, support. I got that idea in my head in 2018, and every single day since then, I have failed. I failed to achieve my goals, but every night I've been able to go to bed with the knowing that I'm trying everything I can think of, trying to make good for my old ways, even though I didn't see combat as a veteran. I want to save other veterans from having to see combat for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what's
All right, well,
interesting
I'll
to
get
me,
out of
Jack,
here.
is this
Here, again, to make the point, though, they demolished the Tropicana that morning, and it's symbolic, just like how they purposely demolished people's homes and livelihoods
are you
with
from
their
Florida?
orchestrated storm.
I'm literally less than an hour from Clearwater, where Tropicana Field is. You know that the dome is made out of a tarp, right? A plastic. And they had 100-mile-an-hour winds come through there. What do you think was going to happen to that dome?
But again, how many storms have gone through Florida without the top getting ripped off since it was established in
100 years?
March 3rd? It was established March 3rd, 1990, shortly after the 1989 World Series earthquake that wiped out San Francisco, where the Athletics
We're not
were
talking
playing.
about
The
San
last thing seen
Francisco.
on TV was
We're talking
Jose
about
Canseco,
Tropicana
the
Field.
Athletic, before it cut to Fuzz, who then went to his career and played for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
We're talking about Tropicana
You might
Field
think
in
it's all
Florida.
funny, but this is what
No,
they're doing.
you're fucking
Zach,
running off on like a crazy train. We
No,
haven't
it's
had
not
a
a crazy
hurricane
train.
hit
It's called having a
Tampa
higher IQ.
in 100 years.
Two different
100
topics.
years. 100 years, no storm has come through Tampa.
There, learn gematria. You'll see that Tropicana Field equals 83 like Milton, and then you'll understand why it
Okay,
happened on the
I'll
83 days
I'll let him do his
Zach.
closing thoughts to that. I'll let him go and do his closing.
Well, actually, I'm feeling maybe it's time to wrap up.
But again, what I want to say our friend has here, who doesn't know much about anything, and I don't
wait,
mean to belittle him, but
whoa.
it's true.
Wait, no,
Coincidence theory.
don't run with that, Zach.
Yeah, it's
That's
coincidence
not
theory.
fair.
This fucking guy. I don't know
Yeah,
much
this
about
fucking
anything.
guy.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
This
appalled.
fucking
Zach
guy
is
who called it all
appalled.
before it happened.
Zach
He's been
likes
calling it for a
Paul
decade.
so much, right? Zach
are-
loves Paul so much. He's exactly like Paul. He's a gaslighter.
No, I'm not exactly
He's trying
like
to.
Paul.
He thinks he can piss me
There's
off. He thinks I'm a new guy
similarities.
around here or something, right? Whatever. Hey Jack, good stream, buddy. We had talked about some good shit. Zach, suck a dick.
Oh, Steve, thank you for joining.
No, but honestly, the reason I am frustrated is because the world's full of Steves. Guys who don't know that much and don't know their place.
Well,
Steve, hey, go hand out the taxpayer stuff. You'll be doing it for the rest of your life because it's going to get a lot worse.
No, because there's men like me. We're going to solve these problems. We're going to move beyond the challenges and the difficulties, and we're going to find a way to get it done, because it's not just a few of us. And there's a lot of people who are sharing the wisdom, sharing the encouragement, and doing the work. So I don't want to diminish any of us, but I do know that we can all do more.
Jack, will you do me a favor before I leave? Can you pull up an internet so we can see the screen? And can you go to my favorite website, gematrinator.com? I want to do something here real quick. So for the guy who just said suck a dick, so he can see what I'm talking about. If you can put the website, or if you can allow me to share the screen, I'll do it real quick.
If you can, please do. I mean, I got it pulled up.
Share screen. Hold on. Let me change this around. Can you just throw my screen up here real quick? All right. So again, gematria, guys, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words. You learn this, you will see through the ritualism. And if you think this is a joke, I'm sorry. You got to get you got to work on the IQ. Look at this. I'm going to type in 3 words here. I'm going to type in hurricane. I'm going to type in Tropicana, and I'm going to type in athletics. And I'm going to make a point here. Do you see how these 3 words have the exact same value in 3 out of the 4 ciphers? Again, they tore down the Tropicana to make way for the athletics' new ballpark the day that Hurricane Milton ripped off the top of Tropicana Field in a purposeful destruction, because these are targeted storms. And by the way, when Helene formed, again, that was September 25th, the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. That's the day leaving 97 days left in the year. And as I explained last year, when they burned up Maui, they blamed it on Hurricane Dora. And that happened 4 years to the day of the cartoon Dora the Explorer concluding, just like how Milton just got made landfall on the anniversary of Milton the Monster, the cartoon debuting. And all of the media was referring to it as a monster hurricane. This is all mockery. But anyway, I explained how this year, when The Rock turns 52 on May 2nd, he used to be a Miami Hurricane football player, that you have to understand, last year when they burned up Maui, it was perfectly synced with him debuting the movie for Moana, the live action, where he plays the character Maui, the fire god. It's a lot to explain, but that was perfectly synced with The Rock. I said, just wait until he turns 52 on May 2nd, because the first act of weather warfare ever admitted to in the world was on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 52. 52 is this huge number connected to weather warfare. You can see that hurricane equates to 52. When Helene formed, that was exactly 146 days after The Rock's birthday, exactly 146 days after his 52nd birthday. And here's where it gets wild. Think about the song Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. The lead singer of that band, his birthday is the 146th day of the year. The new quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes is Cam Ward, who came up from Washington State. Jack knows that we had a windstorm out here on the same day that the Hurricane Helene formed. We had a big windstorm out here in eastern Washington where he used to be the quarterback. And his name, Cameron Ward, equals 52. And his birthday is the 146th day of the year. Scorpions equals 52 like hurricane. That hurricane formed 239 days after the anniversary of that song coming out, which is the 52nd prime number. If all of this seems like it's a coincidence to you, I'm telling you, this is why the cabal rules, because they're a lot more intelligent than the masses. And that's what I realize is a major problem in this world. That's where my concern is. I'm worried that humanity has just been raised to be a little bit too slow, a little bit too special ed to understand what is taking place. It's like evidence doesn't add up, like the last guy who's like, you know that it has a cloth top. Did you just hear what I said about how they tore down the thing for the athletic stadium? Hey, buddy who said that, go back and look at this. Go back and look at the 1989 World Series earthquake. You'll see it happened October 17th, 1989. Go back and look at what day they opened up the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. They opened it up March 3rd, 1990, 137.
Zach.
Let me make this point real quick, Jack, and I'm done. They opened the stadium 137 days later. That is the 33rd prime number. It opened on March 3rd, 3-3, like Jose Canseco wore 33, who went on to play for Tampa Bay. You want to know how old Tampa Bay is right now? Tampa Bay, the city, is 137 years old. What was the score of the World Series game after they came back?
I don't care.
The A's won 13-7 after the earthquake game, which wasn't Mother Nature. But, Jack, one last point. The mayor of Tampa, her name is Jane Castor. Castor and Pollux are Greek gods, which have to do with athletics.
Okay.
And the feast day for Castor and Pollux is July 15th, which is also Tampa Bay's birthday. She is the 59th mayor of the city. That cartoon, Milton the Monster, celebrated its 59th anniversary the day it made landfall hitting the Tampa area. And it made landfall 59 days after the anniversary of Harp's patent, which was created for military purposes to experiment with storms. So again, for my guy out there who's like, it has a cloth top, you better check to make sure you got brain cells up here, not cloth for brains. This stuff's not an accident. It goes on every single year. I've written books about it. You said, fuck your book. Maybe you should go read it because, again, had the world gotten behind the knowledge, you wouldn't be out there giving away my tax money and everybody else's to feed people who just got ravaged by the military, asshole. And yeah, sorry, Jack. I think anger is a real thing. Anger is the reason I've been here every single day for 11 years trying to fight tyranny and evil. And I get sick of know-it-alls like
I've had enough of it, though, Zach. Did you get your point? Zach, I'm trying to be polite. Is your point done?
Jack, is my point received? Or am I wasting my time here too?
You're sitting here looping in your anger. You're kind of disrespecting what I am doing right here. You're not thinking about the future things I'm suggesting. You're back to the patterns of the past. And I don't mean to offer this
I'm not talking about the patterns of the past. I'm talking about what's going on right now.
I know. Zach, thank you. I'm sorry. Yes, what you're offering, it's been received. There's corruption. There's patterns. So what are we going to do?
Spread the knowledge and stop it.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to do, but it seems the knowledge I have is, I guess I don't know. Zach, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm tired of offending people. So I think it's just time to wrap it up. Thank you.
All right. All right, Jack. Again, knowledge is the only thing that can set us free. And that's what Jesus said as well. So we'll leave it there.
Amen.
All right. Appreciate it, Jack. Thank you.
Respect to you. Thank you, my friend. DeFreak?
Jesus said the truth will make you free. But I just want to end with the Proverbs 29:2 that I posted. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And I think it's been a lack of leadership overall for probably 50 plus years in America. And it's been a betrayal of the leadership as well. So we've got a lot of work to do. And, I'm just hopeful that, Americans can rally around something. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's just my opinion. And thanks for having me.
Hey, I know how Chuck and others will run this, but in some part of my spirit, I hope some people in America can start rallying behind me. Because, brothers and sisters, we are the generation that is here today. I've got some other people who popped in the back. I think I am going to wrap this up. We're nearing 2.5 already. We are the generation. We're at a tipping point. The advancements of technology, the advancements of logistics, of tracking and analyzing. We are living in an age of data where the confusion and the profitable misinformation, the profitable miseducation of the masses has resulted in this world where immorality enables criminals. We have criminals enabling criminals with the governments and with the corporations. Who's protecting the individual citizens from the greed and exploitation of these selfish systems? Nobody is. Well, God is. You are. I am. We are waking up. We are learning about some of the corruption, some of the problems. We're learning that there are solutions out there. There are men and women who are doing the work, who are bringing solutions and support to those in need. And maybe that can be you. Maybe there's a way in your life, in your experience today, tomorrow, as you're out and about, maybe an idea will be inspired with you, how you can give, how you can serve, not just those who serve you, not just the family and those close-knit small group of people who keep you safe. See what you can do to create a better world for the world. Because, brothers and sisters, within each of us is the power of God. The will of God can be lived and observed through you, your deeds, your words, or you can push God out. You can push God out with your pride and arrogance and your focus on the problems and your belief that you know it all. I used to do that. I encourage you, brothers and sisters, redefine your own values. Determine which variables in your life are given how much weight, right? Because it's real easy for a variable, a piece of information to become an excuse. Like, life can be hard, so you can make an excuse to be angry. You might not approve of someone in their behavior or words, so you might make the excuse that it's okay to be rude and insulting. I've played that game. I encourage you, break the game, shatter the mold, break away from the old you so that you can redefine what's important to you. And if you redefine love as important to you, you will seek it. Those who seek shall find. So pay attention to what you're seeking, pay attention to what you're sharing. And until next time, please do the subscribe thing, join in, share support, whatever. Share some love in your life. And until next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. Thank you again. God bless us all. I still did it wrong.